Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today is a very exciting video. I am in my third trimester, finally. This is so exciting. I feel like I've been waiting for this day for years to happen for me to make a video talking about my third trimester. Okay, I changed the angle a little bit. Hopefully that's okay with you guys. I'm just gonna jump right in. I don't want this to be a super long video. I did just eat, and every time after I eat, I get like the burps, so sorry in advance for that. I usually can cut most of them out, but some of them you just can't hide. Let me just start at the beginning. I didn't take a whole lot of notes. I didn't have like a lot of symptoms, I guess you could say, for the third trimester. It just has been a crazy time. The biggest thing, not the biggest thing, one of the nicest things of my second trimester is that the nausea went away. It did not go away right away, unfortunately. I think it went away probably around week like 17. It was completely gone. When I was 16 weeks, it was like still there a little bit, but not a whole lot. But by week 17, I didn't have any morning sickness at all. So that was so nice, and I feel very fortunate. I know some women, that doesn't happen to them. They just have morning sickness for their whole pregnancy, which I couldn't imagine. Then I also noticed I've had more energy. So this was kind of a beginning of the trimester thing, because I definitely noticed that now that I'm further along, I get worn out a lot easier. I definitely wake up with more energy. Like in the first trimester, it doesn't matter how much you sleep, you just wake up feeling like you have never slept in your whole life. So at the beginning of my second trimester, I would wake up feeling pretty energized, and I kind of kept the same energy all throughout the day. And now, I'd say the last like 2 or 3 weeks, I've noticed that I wake up with energy, and it kind of, by probably like 5 or 6 p.m., I'm like out for the day. I'm not cooking dinner, I'm not cleaning up, I am sitting on the couch until bedtime, and then I'm going to sleep. Those are the only 2 things that I would say got better. Everything else just kind of went downhill. So I started getting really bad heartburn. I don't really remember exactly when that started, but I did make a note that it got really, really bad at week 25. No matter what I ate or what time of day I ate, it did not matter. I just had terrible heartburn. I was popping Tums like they were freaking candy. And I think that really only lasted like a week, because I haven't really had heartburn in a while. So I don't know, it's just kind of all over the place. Didn't have it, then I had it, then I had it really bad, then I didn't have it. Sometimes I still get it. And I know that they say that like it depends on what you're eating, that will increase your heartburn, but I don't notice that. I thought for a while that I did, but I mean, I would have pizza one day and not be able to sleep because of the heartburn it gave me, and then a few days later I would have pizza again and I felt perfectly fine. So I personally have not found a rhyme or reason to my heartburn, but for some people there is. So if you're struggling with that, just kind of pay attention to the foods you're eating and what time of day you're eating, because they always, they say that you shouldn't eat right before bed because your food doesn't digest before you lay down or something like that. I don't know. My hips have also been, that has been probably one of the worst things that I've dealt with, if not the worst thing, honestly. I don't remember exactly when they started hurting, but I feel like it was really early on. It just has slowly gotten worse. Usually, like at the beginning, if I would stretch before bed, I wouldn't have any problems. Like I would sleep fine, and I just had to kind of stay active. But now it does not matter what I do, they just always hurt. I do remember a turning point, and that was at week 25, I want to say, or 24. Yeah, I think I was 24 weeks. It just out of nowhere got 500 times worse. Like I can't be standing for too long. Like today I took the morning to clean the apartment, and I had to like keep taking breaks because my hips were hurting so bad. And I haven't found anything that helps. Stretching is kind of not really possible at this point. I mean, the stretching that I did before to help relieve the hip pain, I can't do anymore, so I need to do some research on that. Peter will sometimes give me like a hip massage before bed if it's super bad, and that definitely helps ease the pain a little bit, but it's very temporary. You know, maybe like 10 minutes I feel good. And I do see a chiropractor every week. I'm sure my hip pain would be a lot worse if I wasn't seeing the chiropractor, but it's not like it's magically gone, like it's just always there. So that has been unfortunate, but also I understand like your body is like moving and stretching to make room for a baby to come out. So makes sense. I also, just as of last week, I think, I noticed stretch marks on my hips, which I kind of was expecting, honestly. I feel like I'm just such a small girl, you know? And they're not like terrible, so I'm hoping that they will stay how they kind of are right now. I have been doing vitamin E oil and the Dr. Brown's stretch mark lotion, usually 2 times a day. I've been really consistent with that, and I wasn't necessarily relying on that to prevent any stretch marks from happening. I just know that my skin gets super dry, and I was hoping to prevent any like uncomfortableness with my skin getting dry while it's stretching. I know that they could be a lot worse. I really think that they probably would be a lot worse if I wasn't doing the oil and the lotion, but you never know. I don't have any on my belly yet, just on my hips. It's definitely weird to see how my body's changing throughout being pregnant, and I was definitely sad at first to see those stretch marks, but you know, I just feel like it's not that big of a deal. I'm gonna have a baby after this, so I don't really care. More recently, as of this week, I have had 2 things happen. The most exciting thing is I've felt super, super big movements. I have felt him move a ton, literally since I felt my first kick at 14 weeks. Not kick, it was like a little bubble, like, you know. And I would say probably around week 21 was when I started noticing like actual kicking. Like it felt more like a baby moving rather than like air bubbles or like, you know, butterflies as some people describe it. And then as of last week, I can visually see my stomach moving, and he just moves so much, so much. There are some days where he's just moving all day, and then there are some days where he's more calm, but I can pretty much guarantee that he is doing somersaults around 6 a.m. and right before bed. So that has been really exciting and really fun to experience. It's still not really to the point where I can record it, because I swear he knows when I pull my phone out. I like get my phone out and then he just stops moving. I'm just like, how do you know that I'm trying to record you? What the heck? And then the last pregnancy related symptom for the 2nd trimester, I have to look at my phone for this because it's a big word. I have this thing called costochondritis. Don't know if I said that right. It's literally just a fancy word for having inflamed ribs. I noticed like early in the week, last week, I had this pain, like, well, now I know it's my rib, but before it was just like, it just felt like my upper abdomen on my right side. It really only happened when I was laying on my right side, and it wasn't like terrible. It was just kind of like a dull, like achy pain. And then it gradually got worse. It got really intense where I couldn't lay on my right side at all. And then I could feel it even when I was laying on my left side. And then I just was like sleeping with my bed all the way up, because we have an adjustable bed. So I put it all the way up and I could still feel it. So it went from a very dull pain sometimes to like it was just always there, and it hurt really, really, really bad. So I was obviously concerned. And my OB, who is amazing, she was like, come on in, I had a cancellation today, we'll check it out. She knew when I came in, she was like, I have a feeling it's your ribs. So I laid down, she pushed along my rib, and I was like wincing in pain. It hurt so bad. She's like, yep, it's your rib. And she said this big long C word, and she's like, that's just a fancy word for saying that your ribs are inflamed. And I was like, what? The way she described it is like my insides are like going up and out. So there's a lot of pressure going up onto those up to those top ribs. I was like, oh, well, if it's just inflammation, that means that it should go down eventually, right? And she just like looked at me. She's like, not likely. And then I just got sad. And she's like, the problem is that your body is going to continue to move and put more pressure on that rib. So I don't think it's going to, she's like, it could, but I wouldn't like, I wouldn't have high hopes for it. So pretty much I'm just gonna have this really sharp stabbing pain in my ribs for the next 12 weeks, which again, it's a very small thing that I had to deal with to meet my son at the end of this. So although pregnancy has not been as fun and easy as I was expecting it to be, I would do this a million times over to meet my son, who I haven't even met yet, but I know he's gonna be amazing. Those were all of my things that I wrote down, my symptoms. I have a short list of things to buy, very short list. The number one thing is Tums. Even if you're not experiencing heartburn yet, just buy them and have them on deck. When I reorganized our sink a long time ago, not a long time ago, like 6 months ago or so, I threw out all of our old medicine and I bought all new stuff and I added stuff. And one of those things was Tums. So there was one night, the first night I had heartburn, I was like, I need Tums right now. Like, this is terrible. And then he's like, I think you have some. I was like, I don't have any. Why would I have Tums? And then he looked, he came in shaking a bottle of Tums, and I was like, holy cow, this is the best moment of my whole life. And I freaking ate. I think you can have 3 at a time. I ate 3. And it was like an immediate relief. It was so nice. So stuff like that, just try to have on hand before you need it. So that way when you do need it, especially because like for me, that was at like 10 p.m. and I 100% would have gone out to Walgreens at 10 p.m. to get some Tums because that's how bad it was. The other thing that I would recommend is a pregnancy pillow. So in my first trimester video, I talked about this actually, and I talked about how I didn't necessarily like my pregnancy pillow. I didn't understand all of the hype about it, but now that I'm getting bigger, it definitely has been nice to have. Now there's still some nights where I get annoyed with it or I get uncomfortable and I just take it off the bed and throw it on the floor. Now that my stomach is sticking out more, there's like actually something for the pillow to support, as where before I felt like my bump was still too small to where it just felt like it was like stretching my stomach more than like supporting it. Do what you want with this. I still feel like it's not a necessity. I would be just fine without my pregnancy pillow. I don't think I would miss it, honestly. But for some people, it's like a must-have. And for me, it definitely, like, I feel like there are some nights where I like appreciate it a lot more than usual. And then the last thing that I wrote down is to invest in some oil and some belly butter. I mentioned this also in my first trimester video. They say that stretch marks are like a hereditary thing, but I fully believe that you can control how bad they get. If that's something that you care about, if that's something you're trying to prevent, I would suggest doing it, not even just for stretch mark prevention, but also just because it feels so nice to have like a nice moisturized belly. I have not had an itchy belly or anything. It always just feels super soft. And I think that he likes it too, because like sometimes after I'm done rubbing it in, he'll like move a little bit. He's like, wait, no, don't stop, keep going. Those are my 3 recommendations of things to keep on hand. Other than that, I couldn't really think of anything. The second trimester is just very like, meh. You're not like miserable like you are in the first trimester. You have a little bit more energy and you start to feel the baby move, which is exciting. And at the end of your second trimester, you start to get a little bit more uncomfortable. Then you're going back to like the miserable side of being pregnant. So I just feel like it's very just kind of like mediocre, I guess. I don't know if that's the right word to describe it. Before I forget, I'm going to show you my bump. Here it is. My belly button sticks out a little bit. It's like very weirdly sticking out. I don't know. And yeah, you can see my stretch marks on this side. And I feel like he's been low this whole time, which has been nice because I think my rib would hurt a lot more if he was higher. This is the end of my second trimester 28-week bump date. I still have been wearing a lot of loose shirts, and I feel like, honestly, like you couldn't really tell that I'm pregnant if you didn't know until it's like a really tight shirt. Then it's like, whoa, there's a baby in there. So that is all I have for this video. Let me know down below in the comments if you have experienced any of these symptoms, or if you've had any crazy symptoms like this whole rib thing that I have. I've never heard of anyone else having that before. So if you have any like crazy symptoms, comment down below, because I think it's fun to see like how everyone is so different. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already. I have been posting 3 videos a week, which is so exciting, and I hope I can keep that up. A lot of them are pre-recorded. Like, I think you guys are like 2 weeks behind my real life, but you guys don't know the difference. If you want more updated, like day-to-day life updates, you can follow me on Instagram. I do post on there a little bit more than I do on YouTube, but it's like in real time. And yeah, that's all I have for you guys. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you when I see you.